All right, welcome back to another edition of Scaling Secrets podcast. I am your host, Alex Mahaz, and today we have a true titan in the world of tech and marketing joining us on the show. Babar Arshed, with over 8 years of experience, has proven himself as a self-starting marketing leader, launching and executing new initiatives at scale. His expertise in creating tech solutions and ability to really exceed his goals will leave you inspired and motivated. Not only Babar's passion for counseling and mentoring, as well as his international level cricket experience, I'm excited to dive into as well, adds a really unique experience and dimension to his impressive resume. So get ready as we dive deep on this remarkable journey with Babar. How you doing today, man?
That's a great intro, man. I need to use these lines more. Yeah, I'm humbled. Lovely to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, and you got a great resume. So I'm excited. But yeah, let's dive in. I want to touch on your experience with tech and marketing. What do you believe really sets you apart as a successful tech guru, and how do you approach really finding the perfect balance between innovation and practicality?
Yeah, so I think two main things. In fact, interestingly, let me show you what my shirt says. I'm not sure if this will show up properly. Can you read
Yes,
something? What do you read?
I Titans.
And,
Hmm.
and beneath that, you read a line.
Hmm. And you do the business. Yep. We do the
Yeah.
tech. Yep. That's a
Yeah.
great slogan.
Yeah.
I love
Yes,
it.
I think that's what sets me apart. I come from a business background, so I understand the stigma and the problems that people have around tech. Tech is thought of to be scary, tech is thought of to be an expense, tech is thought of to be, a pain in the butt, for the lack of better words. But I am here to tell people, guide people that tech is simple, tech is beautiful, tech is a leverage. It's not an expense. It's a tool to get you back more ROI, more return.
Hmm.
Um, if it's not doing these things, then you're doing tech wrong. So I think that's what sets me apart. I really want to simplify tech and tech solutions for people and how they can help them out in their business.
Hmm.
One more thing that I think adds value to my forte is that I have a very good business acumen. Usually, a lot of tech people they're nerds, right? They're tech
Hmm.
nerds who would go into stuff and build cool stuff for you, but you really have to hold their hand and tell them what to do. I, on the other hand, I try to understand the business as a whole and then provide a tech solution. So my business acumen, I think, is something that my clients love, and in fact, that's my tool to charge more money. It's
Hmm.
what helps me charge that extra premium amount to them, which people love to pay.
No, I love that, and I like how you mentioned you take time to really understand the business, and I'm sure you do a lot of research, and it definitely shows up, and I think that helps build relationships too, with your specific clients you're working with. So I think that's really important, and
Yeah.
like obviously you have a really good passion counseling and mentoring. How has this aspect of your life really influenced your approach to just leadership, problem solving within the tech industry specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a great topic to touch on. I have always believed in giving back to the society, and I think mentoring young people is the best way to do that. I have, been mentored by great people. I have had a chance to talk to people in all, spheres of life. My mantra is simple. I think people are good, people are helpful by default.
Yeah.
That's what I've experienced in my life. There are exceptions everywhere, but that's what I've experienced, and I want to pass on the same thing. Personally, for me, I think the satisfaction that mentoring somebody and sort of guiding them in the direction gives me, it's as good as being successful myself.
Hmm.
um, and I think I also get to learn a lot. So if I'm talking to a young, let's say 22 year old guy from some other part of the world, and he has some idea that he's working on, I get to learn a lot about the mindset of the young person, what tools they're using, what they're going through, how their mindset is different. I'm around 30, so that 10-year gap that I get, or 5 year or 6 year that I get from mentoring young people especially, I think that teaches me a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And there's so much just changing within the tech industry, and there's so many different, There's like 16, 17-year olds on the other side of the world that are so innovative too. So I think
Yeah,
just to be able to learn from others and being able to put your ego aside and be humble enough to learn from people that are younger than you, that's something that I've had to grow in my business and my career. But it's an important trait to have. So especially as a business owner.
lovely.
But no, I'm curious. Just like I want to go back to your early years within business, within tech and marketing, and really as an entrepreneur, and what really ignited that fire in you to really become an entrepreneur and be innovative, and what really
Yeah.
do you enjoy the most about it?
I think some traits as an entrepreneur I naturally had, which was, just being a bit different from the crowd. I remember third year of my undergrad college, I went to one of the best colleges in my home country, Pakistan. We are supposed to do a mandatory internship with some big company, Pepsi's and Nestle's and all these big multinationals. I sort of found a way to skip that. I played around with a few loopholes in the system, and I found a way to skip that legally properly. And I started my little venture selling shirts and sports equipment. Um, so I think I always had this thing of being different. And back in grade six, I used to try to sell like replica pens,
Hmm.
to earn some bucks. So I always had some form of entrepreneur in me. But then you have to groom that. You have to nurture it. You have to groom it. You have to give it some water for the plant to grow. And I think my experiences, with the help of support from family and friends, it allowed me to play around, learn, fail multiple times, and then slowly come up with the ideas that have helped me grow as an entrepreneur.
I love that. And was how important you mentioned friends and family, but was there somebody specific like a mentor, a professor, teacher that really kind of stood out to you that really helped you your journey
Yeah,
into
yeah.
where you're at?
I think two people I will always be grateful for in my life. One is my cricket coach. So this guy who is not a big superstar and has not played international cricket or something, but the approach he's had with his life, he's a very humble guy with not a lot of money, but he has a very, very big heart. And the
Hmm.
learnings that he gave me when I was growing up in my under 19s, and when you're a bit your
Yep.
personality is a bit fragile, the things he taught me off the field and on the field, I think those are very, very great learnings which I've used
Hmm.
always in my entrepreneur journey. Main one being pressure management and just not giving up and rising up, falling down, rising up.
Hmm.
Every day is a new day, sort of an approach. Um, and then I have a professor from my undergrad who was also the dean of our school. He was the one who, on a professional level, who showed me the vision, or how I can take my ideas to the next level. And he's always given me hope. He's told me how to stay humble, but still given me hope and told me that there's no limit to what you can achieve. So I think these two people deserve a special shout out. As of now, I have my family, I have my parents, I have a few very good friends who are big support.
Yep, and I love that, and that's something that I always resonate with. I played baseball my whole life, and I had a coach growing up too, kind of like similar to you in cricket, and I still keep in touch with them to this day, 20 years later, and that relationship really helped kind of mold me as a man, and then eventually transitioned into business. So I
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
story.
I think sports learnings or things you learn on the field
Hmm.
through coaches or players or playing as a team, all those things, I think they're gold. I recommend
Yep.
everybody, to make sure that their kids do some sport.
Yep. Out of the classroom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Let's keep going with that. Obviously, you play cricket at an international level. So how do you think those skills and that mindset required in sports? How did that transition into the business world for you? And was there any specific lessons
yeah,
that you applied?
yeah. I think I touched upon a couple of them, but I think the beauty of sport is that there's
Hmm.
no discrimination based on who you are, where you're from. Some sports like cricket doesn't care how tall or short you are or how you're built. You just need to be fit enough to play, along with other things, right? So I think the best thing about sport is that it really unites you, and that
Hmm.
was that was my number one learning when I came. I joined a professional cricket club when I was probably like 16 or something. which is a bit later than what usual people do. But I had, as I said, my personality was a bit fragile. I had this little complex of sort of not knowing myself. I think a lot of us go through that in teenage. You're really trying to identify and know about yourself.
Mhm.
Sport really helped me get past that. So that's the number one learning and credit that I give to sport. It really helped me discover myself, make a unique identity of myself, understand myself, what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, how I perform under pressure, the goods and bads of my personality. And then I think later on, a few things that all sports teach you, but cricket being the beautiful sport that it is, it taught me the importance of teamwork. We are 11 players on the field. One player can make a difference, but not alone. That's something that we always use in the personal and professional world. Pressure management. So facing situations which seemed impossible at times and getting out of them by yourself and with the support of your people. Multiple examples where I've helped my team win games, but never alone. If I'm scoring 100 runs and the target is 150, I've done most of the work, but still 50 runs are with the help of my team. Third, and I think the most important learning for me is not giving up. So, and I think as cliche as it sounds, just hustling, rising up, grinding every single day. Some days are dark. Some days you don't see any rewards of your efforts. But what I learned in sport was that your effort is not going to go to waste. Your practice, your hours you're putting in, they might not show in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 games, but then there'll come a time when you'll get things so quickly and so easily because of all the effort you've put in the past. So yeah, that's been my main learnings. Besides that, I think it's been a great socializing tool for me. Anywhere I've gone in the world, I've played in different parts of the world, I've made a lot of good friends, a lot of good memories, and those relationships have gone much beyond the field, right?
Mhm.
Personally, professionally. My first job in the US was through cricket. A lot of my clients that I meet are through cricket. A lot of my
Mhm.
good friends, family friends, best friends have been the people I found through cricket. So yeah, man, I can go on hours about this, but that's something that I really am grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I resonate with that so much. And I think being a part of a team, like a band of brothers, when you're working together with a group of guys trying to accomplish the same goal. And I think that's why I love baseball too. I was a pitcher, and I had to rely on other people to back me up. Similar with cricket. So, I think that those lessons you learn, especially younger, they transition. So I love that. And obviously you have really great leadership skills and you've been able to scale and have a great vision for your company and just the work you're doing. But how would you describe your leadership style? And what are some things that you like? How is your vision for the company really evolved over time?
That's a good question because yesterday only we were doing a 2023 recap slash 2024 roadmap sort of a thing with my team. I have about 60 odd people as of today. Grateful for that. They've grown a lot in the last 1 year. But the I think the biggest things that I've emphasized on and that I've learned over time in my journey with, let's say, iTitans, about my leadership is that I am a very involved leader. I love knowing, but I don't love managing and being, too involved in the process. I just
Hmm.
tell me what you're doing, take my advice, but do it your way. I don't want to know how you're achieving something, but what you're achieving, what's the reason behind it. Those things are very important to me. Number one. Number two, I've always gone in a lot of detail of why more than how. So I encourage my people to ask a lot of questions, to always be curious, try to understand the why behind something, and then the how and when and what can follow. That's
Hmm.
also important, but the why is the most important thing. And I think the last thing, which gladly I was talking to my team about, is giving back. So I have learned in my professional journey that sometimes giving value to people without anything in your head can lead to wonders. I have so many examples of my clients, of people, of employees, of vendors, of investors, of partners, where I have gotten great results by just not expecting those, by just giving to them. and then letting it be. And that also circles down to giving back to the society. I have a big belief that whatever you give to society, you at least get tenfolds. I wrote a post about it the other day, where by mistake gave X amount of charity to my local mosque. I had to give half the amount, but the transaction didn't go through, so I gave double the amount and I let it be. But then, out of nowhere, my client offered to pay me more for my services. I didn't ask for it, but and that more amount was 10 times of what I had given as charity. So this was over a couple of days.
Mhm.
So yeah, giving back to society, but generally to everybody. That's also a big part of my style and what I've learned over time.
It's like that old saying, it's cliched, but like what goes around comes around. I truly believe in that. You put good into the world, you'll get it back one way or another. And I really like how you touched on the why first, and then how will come. That's really important because that really helps your team, your employees, and the company understand the vision. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to get here? Just like building a roadmap. I mean, I'm in tech. I'm a project manager, and we focus a lot on roadmaps. And we got to know the vision, where the company's going, and ultimately that comes down to the why. So I love that. I want to touch launching and scaling a business. It's pretty tough. There's a lot of challenges that come with that. What are some projects recently, maybe in 2023, that you struggled with? And how did you really navigate those obstacles to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, 2023 has been a year of great success for us, gladly. And we've not faced big challenges like I've done in the past, but still, tech comes with daily level challenges, right? So, one of the best projects I'm working on is a sports event management platform, specifically esports. So it helps connect people who do esports and, do their events recreationally, professionally, at any level. So this guy came up to me in March of 2023, and he'd spent around half a million and 2 years of his time trying to build a technology which he was unable to do so. His investors were not happy. He had burnt out most of his savings. He was in bad shape, to simply put. That's when I took on the challenge of helping him out and seeing where I could go. He had very less money. I had to cut down my rates about half to sort of start working with him. But I loved the guy. I loved his energy, his passion, his vision. I thought the product could go somewhere. And that's one thing that I try to do. I only try to take on work which I think is going to be successful, which makes sense. If you come up to me with an idea and I think it's not going to be a successful one, either I talk to you about it or I then tell you to pardon me, and I won't take the project, because the success of a tech service person depends on the success of the company he's working for. So anyhow, I took on the project, and man, we had to face everyday obstacles because the previous companies he was working with, and he'd spent half a million, had given him crap just because he was not of a tech background. They sort of manipulated him and faked stuff for him that we had to really dive into and get out of them. If you know tech, if you know about tech, working on somebody else's technology on code is as tough as understanding a doctor's handwriting. So
Yep. Oh yeah.
yeah, so
It's like you have
it's
to
easier.
train. It's a whole nother language.
Yeah, yeah. So it's easy to build things from scratch, but because we
Hmm.
had to work with the code he already had developed and spent half a million on, a really tough time back in the project. My
Hmm.
team had to really do things out of the ordinary to make sure that we're able to use what he's already built. And then gladly in the next 4 months, we were able to give him a very good rolling MVP. And now he's making big moves. He just
Hmm.
raised a few $1 million from UAE using the tech that we've built. So yeah, again, grateful for that. It turned out very well, but it was a very challenging project.
Gotcha. And just from listening to that, it definitely sounds like you're very customer focused and driven. You have to be in your industry. How do you ensure that your business remains customer focused and you're meeting the expectations of your customer? You're finding the MVPs. You're making sure that everything's aligned what they're looking for. That process, like for you and your team.
So I think the mindset comes from the fact that you grow, we grow. If my
Mhm.
customer is not growing, I'm not going to go anywhere. And that was the basis of my company, honestly. I was working on small health tech projects when COVID came. those projects got big just because they got bought out, acquired, good traction. That is when I grew. So the basis of my company happened from growth of my customers. I think that is the mindset that all of my people understand. When I take on a project, I make sure the people involved know what sort of effort it needs. If they don't make that effort, that project is going to go and they're going to be out of a job, simply put, or they're going to have to find something else with me or with somebody else. So that mindset trickles down in my team. They understand it, and that helps me navigate a lot of things that the customer needs. The customer is not always right. We used to hear this saying from our elders that customer is always right, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
agree. They're humans, especially small to mid-level businesses, right? They're humans.
Mm-hmm.
They have a certain mindset. They have certain experiences. As a partner, it's your job to be honest to them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I try in the journey. I have so many arguments with so many of my customers that if you hear it, sometimes it's going to be funny because I fight with them like like wives sometimes, like partners.
Yeah.
Because if I don't agree on something, I really put my foot down and try to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think just being honest with my customers, I try to be with my employees and my vendors and everybody, and take it from there. The processes can follow.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it takes time to put your foot down and be very affirmative when you're, working with a customer and you're telling them this is what you need? Does that process take time, or are you just kind of going at it right away throughout that?
So I think usually I just go with my style of involvement, and
Hmm.
um, it is affirmative, but of course in a very respectful and logical way. I think
Yeah.
humans are logical. Sometimes
Hmm.
people get too emotional about their product or their baby, uh, but besides, and I understand that also because I've been there. I've built a company I was too emotional about. That was my company before iTitans, called Influencer Hub. So I know how what that feels, what goes through people's mind. um, so I try my best to have a logical reasoning, and I do
Hmm.
that from day one. One of my clients, I just locked him. We're doing his work. He's a attorney based out of Florida, in fact. And the first call I had with him, I gave him like 10 advices on his idea because it was so raw. And we talked like 5 minutes about tech and like 25, 30 minutes about his business.
Hmm.
And on the next call, he told me, hey, I have an offer which is 5,000 less than what you're quoting, but I'm going to go with you just because you showed me what you think about my business. So, my approach of being on from call one, I think it helps usually. Sometimes it doesn't, but then probably that's not the right fit.
Hmm. Exactly. And I think the ability to be honest and straight up with, that client, it's really important because, you don't want to do them a disservice. And I think so many people are, especially new entrepreneurs and business owners, are so quick to try to scale and make money that they burn a lot of relationships and potential clients that could be a lot bigger in the future. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I'm curious your future outlook. What are some of the plans with your businesses, and how are you looking to grow this year, 2024?
Yeah, again, great timing. We just discussed this, and you made some goals. So I think we are on track to at least double our business this year, and that is if growth just keeps happening how it's been happening organically. We don't spend a lot of marketing budgets. We don't have a lot of marketing budgets. I don't believe in a lot of outbound marketing. So organically, I think touch wood, my business is going to be double at least by this year end. I do have some big plans when it comes to where this business can scale, and that involves around some big partnerships. I personally have got out of my comfort zone and started networking with people a lot. I think that is something that started late. I should have done that earlier, but that's really helping me. I'm meeting a lot of people that can be potential partners, customers, and who are really interested in knowing what we are doing. So yeah, I think if those big partnerships that I'm looking forward to go well, sky's the limit. But at least we're looking to double our business.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, and I think just having that plan to really, have a vision in place is so important to start developing that. You don't want to backtrack. You always want to be going forward, whatever business model you're in. So great. So I want to wrap it up. I got, I always ask three rapid questions, three rapid fire questions. So I'll ask those, and then any closing remarks you can make.
Yeah.
So I'll
Okay.
start with our first one. What do you feel are the key attributes of a successful entrepreneur?
Somebody who leads from the front, doesn't back down when problems happen.
Hmm.
Somebody who can explain the importance of why to their team, and somebody who can give back in the right way.
Hmm. Yeah, keyword the right way. I think a lot of us, we try to give back and we end up not being as productive as we wish. So,
Yeah.
what's something people think that's important in business but doesn't matter as much?
With building stuff, I think people focus too much on building everything in the right way. I tell them tech is never 100%,
Hmm.
like a lot of other things. So I think a brick in time saves nine. So if you could do things quickly, do them, learn, try again.
Hmm. Yep, it's like a muscle. It's gonna grow.
Yeah.
Um, what are the top three tips about business, entrepreneurship, tech that you want us to walk away with today?
Tech is simple. I think I told this in the start. Tech is simple. Tech is a leverage. Tech is beautiful.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Babar, it was great having you. Is there any closing remarks you want to leave with our audience, your audience?
Yeah, yeah. Firstly, I think I'd like to thank you guys. I think talking to other folks who are trying to help out others by podcast, by coverage, by understanding the importance of brand building. I think that's great work. I think it's a much needed thing that you are doing, and it's going to come back and give back to you in so many ways. And my only, I think, remark will be that 2024, everybody needs to build a brand. Everybody needs to be out there, try their best to have a presence. 95% of our daily connections are digital through some platform or the other. So if we are not being present and building a brand on these platforms, we are not being fair to 95% of the people that we connect with. And again, this comes back to people like you helping out, guiding, and being there to support the process.
No, I love that. It's a really good perspective. It's like a disservice you're doing to others by not having a presence, a brand, a social media, because where are they going to find you? They want to see you, who you are, what are you up to, and that's how you really leverage your network. So
Yeah.
I love that, Babar. It's been an honor to have you and learn your story and your journey, and I'm really excited to see your company grow this year, and you too personally. So
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate your time.
no
Yeah.
worries. Well, that's a wrap. So that's another episode of Scale and Secrets podcast. Until next time, thanks, guys.
Thank you.